always threatening to do a class where you just sit. I mean, it's called a body scan. Like you just sit. It's possible to do yoga without moving. You just sit there and like, as long as your attention is on your body, like you're basically doing the main part of the practice, which is yoking together our mind and our body. It's the same thing, but oftentimes we sort of forget this and stick up to here. So let's keep that in mind today. And the bridge between those two, here's our mind, here's our body, is our attention. And it seems silly or too simple to even notice, but we're so smart and we put so much priority up here that it's easy to forget about this stuff. And there's a lot of wisdom in our body, and our mind both function better when they work together. It's a team, you know? So let's start by just sitting there, right? Well, let's close our eyes and sit there on purpose. Okay, notice the floor and notice your connection to the floor. Like which exact part of the body is making contact with the floor. We're just getting used to feeling on purpose, putting our attention into our sense of touch, starting by feeling where we're touching something that's not us. Okay, now let's take our arms out to the side and we're going to breathe in and bring our arms up. Let this gesture lengthen the upper body and reach for the sky. And then we can turn the arms and float them down on the exhale. Feel yourself settling into your skeleton. Feel your skeleton settling into the floor. Same deal, let's do it a couple times. Scoop up on the inhale. And then let the arms float down on the exhale. Come home to our physical selves, especially the bones, the infrastructure of the body, right? Settle into the hard part. Remember, bones are for being, muscles are for doing. Do a little doing on the inhale, scoop up with the arms, and on the exhale, I really come to enjoy that feeling of just letting my muscles go and feel my body pull the skeleton and feel my skeleton pull towards the ground. Let's do one more big inhale up. And then float the arms down on the exhale. And let's check in real quick on the way that we're doing easy pose, because if we have a good default easy pose, a lot of our work is done for us because we start each pose from the right way. We start off on the right foot. And mostly what we want to make sure of is that our spine is holding us up and our belly is relaxed. Okay, let's use our hand for a second on top of the navel. And just intentionally switch everything off. Everything from the ribs to the hips, let that release. Okay? And then imagine there's a line that goes from your belly button straight to your lower back, and gently engage that part of the lower back and press forward. And we're exaggerating that here at the beginning. We just want to get used to making that shape with our easy pose. The hips are square on the floor, our lower back curves in, our shoulders curve out, our neck curves in. And we're just getting used to keeping the big lower vertebrae in place, actively underneath the weight of the upper body. Okay? And you can let your hand go if we're still holding, right? Close your eyes, feel how the weight lands in the back. Let's roll our shoulders open and hug the shoulder blades towards one another in the back. Okay? And then reach our shoulders towards our ears, and then close the shoulders in front of us and pull the shoulders down. Okay, let's just make a few big shoulder circles here. And maybe go the other way when you feel like that shoulder circle is complete. Awesome. Let your shoulders, be aware of them. Let them settle and let them release on purpose. Okay, let's do a little warm up and release of our breath and our throat muscles and our voice. This is called hum and chatter. So what we're going to do first is to find your lowest note. Remember, this is not musical. This is not about pitch. This is about creating vibrations, right? Using our voice to massage from the inside out. So what we're trying to do is to make the lowest note we got, and that just means don't tighten. When we tighten, it goes higher, and we get tighter, and it goes higher. Let your slack note come out. Your note when you're barely making the note. Right? That's the hum part. Right? If you like, it's like chanting Om, but we're just doing the first part. All right? Now, give your tongue and your lips and your jaw some chatter work. Ba ba ba, ta 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 ta, ding ding ding. All right, now make that low note again, but put it right down the belly button. Use your whole breath. Send that vibration to your abdomen. Now a slightly higher note in the solar plexus. Slightly higher in the sternum. Alright, last one, slightly higher right here where the throat joins the chest. Excellent. Just sit there still for a moment and feel how you can still feel that note going on, or those notes still happening. And a lot of times that's what we need, is to wake up from the inside. We need to check in on parts of the body, including places that we don't consider muscular, right? Our face, we don't consider muscular. Our voice, we don't consider muscular, but it totally is. So let's also open up and wake up the muscles of our face, because I don't ever think about it, but whenever we're social, we put our face together, We're smiling, we're appearing non-threatening and easygoing. We do things with our face to be social, is what I'm trying to say. So sometimes it's good to let that go and release. And just like anything else in the body, if we use it first and then release, it's much easier and much deeper relaxation than if we just don't go into the relaxation cold. So what we're going to try to do is to make everything on our face, and I promise I'm going to close my eyes. I'm not going to be looking at anybody's funny faces, right? We're going to try to make the whole of our face meet at the tip of our nose. So that means we're scrunching our chin up towards our nose. We're scrunching our lips up towards our nose. The cheeks and the jawbone, or the cheekbone and the cheeks scrunch in toward your nose. And then take your forehead and scrunch it down, and your eyebrows and your eyelids and scrunch down towards your nose. But once you found all that good scrunching and squeezing, maximum effort, right? I'll count us to 3. 1, even harder. 2, 3, and release. Progressive muscle relaxation is a wonderful thing. I like to do it sometimes. It's easier to do the arms and legs because they're obvious, Let's do one more that's not quite so obvious since we're here working this way. This one is mostly using the thorax, the muscles of the upper body. So first, we're going to hug our belly button in towards our spine, right? Pull in with the belly button. Now, make this abdominal wall hard, right? Like someone's tossing a basketball all of a sudden at you and you're flexing, Make this hard, pull in with the belly button, and then be mindful of your teeth and careful with your teeth, but clench your jaw, right? Belly's pulling in and hard, clench the jaw. Let's give it maximum effort. 1, 2, 3, and release. Good. Okay, let's do some twisting, I think. Let's go ahead and first take both legs out straight. And we'll do some staff pose. So to start by making some space for this, because this is hard, right? As soon as we're sitting upright, we're like, we want to lean, or we want to flop, or we want to melt, because this takes a lot of effort. So let's make space in the back of the body by reaching up. You can use this to intentionally pull the back long, right? Feel your shoulders pulling the rest of the body up, and then make your hinge come from the hips. And let's fold it forward out over the legs. And our main target here is those big muscles in the back of the leg. So put your upper body somewhere where you feel length, right? You feel that pull in the back of the legs. And then just let the upper body be comfortable, right? For forward folds, these are our cooling positions. And we put the effort and we put the willpower and the targeting in at the beginning. But ideally, especially for forward folds, we find a place where we can just relax. I'm just letting my neck and my head and my back sink. But that sinking is still lengthening the back of the legs, right? We try to put ourselves in that position by our relaxation is still doing work, right? Okay, we came down keeping the upper body pretty straight and flat. Let's roll up from the hips and then the lower back and then the shoulders and let the head come up last. I like to think of this as like a blade of grass or a plant poking itself above the earth, right? So the upper body is upright, pull the shoulder blades back, pull them up towards your ears, press them forward and then down, and then let them settle, let the shoulders settle. Okay, now we're going to step our left knee, our left foot over the right. Okay, use your right hand on the left knee, or you can use your arm around the knee, whatever way feels most comfortable. But when you're here and you're braced, I'm using my left hand over here behind me, right hand on the left knee. Get nice and tall. Visualize putting space between your vertebrae, and then turn to the left. And investigate the back, investigate the spine. If you're not feeling it, if it doesn't feel like anything is happening, I'm not saying necessarily twist further, but do it a different way until you feel it, until you find it. One of my favorite personal definitions of yoga is like doing things to feel on purpose, right? Moving my body until I feel it, and then just sitting there and feeling it. Because I choose to, because I want to. Okay, let's come back to center. And then left leg goes straight. We'll step over with the right, get nice and tall. We'll use our left hand or the elbow or the arm here. Right hand is sort of bracing me, so I'm going to get nice and tall. The twist mostly comes from the shoulders down. Some teachers will get you to turn your head to the right, and you can do that. I'm not as interested with what's going on above the shoulders, and these bones are smaller and a little delicate. I don't really do much to force my neck at all, right? Even as much as turning it to the right. So I would recommend doing it mostly from the shoulders down. But if you feel like opening up the neck a little bit, as long as you're doing it with grace and nice and slow and with full attention, you'll be all right. Okay, excellent. Let's come back to center and let's do some standing things, please. Awesome. So let's start with our feet just right under the hips, right? Pretty neutral stance. Make sure you have a little give to the knees, right? They're not locked, they're not pressing back. They have some give, right? As do all the joints of the body. And what we're going to do here, I think of it as the puppet or the puppet master, right? We're going to lift our right foot. It's almost like you're pulling with your right hand, lifting that right knee, and then set it back down. Okay? And then we'll do it with the left side. Pull up with the left hand and the left knee, and then set it back down with control. Let's just do a few more. Awesome. Let's go ahead and get a nice wide stance here. And once your feet are flat, tuck the toes in a little closer than the heels, right? Your toes are pointed in a little bit. And then we're going to take our hands to the hips so that we can pull our elbows back, right? That's going to keep our heart open, keep our shoulders pulling back, and we're just going to hinge it forward, okay? And when it feels like the back is about flat, start to extend, right? Reach back through the tailbone, reach forward through the crown of the head, putting space in the upper body again. And then let's just let the upper body gradually melt. So it turns into another forward fold, but because our legs are in different places, it lands differently. So find where you feel that space entering the legs and stay there with it. Find at that exact point where it's not overpowering, but it sure is working. And let's shift side to side a little bit, right? Right now we got the knees straight, and you can take your hands, you can remove your hands to the floor, or to your feet, or to your legs, wherever they reach. And let's just go side to side a little bit. Okay, and then we'll start to bend the knees. As you go left, bend the left knee a little. As you go right, bend the right knee a little. And we're just trying to, there's no outward way this is supposed to look. It's all about inside. We can feel when the muscles are being activated. We can feel when the muscles are being stretched. And that's what we're trying to get into, is not making it look like mine, or not making it look like anyone else's, but making it feel like yours. Okay, let's come on back upright. And let's get our feet in just a regular old comfortable pose. Easy pose, mountain pose is what they call it, just standing there in yoga. And let's work with, I guess this is along the lines of Tai Chi and Qigong. Anyway, we want to think of the earthly energies and the heavenly energies, right? This stuff down here is solid and slow and dense. This stuff up here, and it's the only limit is your imagination. This is the white, fast, lightning and electrons. This is like neutrons, protons, rocks. This is air and water, you know. You can choose the properties, but we need all of those, right? And we're just trying to split it into dualities, and as we go down, we're going to get everything that's solid and everything that's strong and sturdy, and we're going to scoop it up in our arms and then charge our body with it. Pull that up the legs, put it into the hips and the belly and the chest, and then we're going to release out to the sides. Bend the knees a little bit as you scoop up the good dark, pull it up through the body. Release anything you don't need to the sides. Let's do one more. Scoop down, pull it up, and then release the arms to the side. Okay? Now this time we're going to be getting everything that's fast and free and open and lucky, right? So we're going to reach up and scoop, and then pull that down into the head and the face, the jaw and neck, the upper body, pass it all the way down through, and then when we reach up, lift up, go after it, gather it, and then put it into us. Let's do one more good. Gather. Awesome. Okay, let's turn side to side. The most important thing here is that we keep all the joints free so it becomes loose and twisty, right? We're not forcing it, and we're not tight in any of our joints. We want it to become fluid, right? And if you want to release one heel or the other to sort of free up your twist, that's a possibility. Okay, let's shake it a little bit here. Start with the hands and the fingertips. Move it up through the arms and the shoulders, right? Anywhere that you can find to become tremulous and shaky, shake it out a little bit. right? And then take it to the feet and the hips and the legs. Anything that you can move it and make sure that nothing is stagnant. That's what we try to do. Get rid of everything that is old and move ourselves up into the present moment. Okay? That's good. Let's go ahead and stick our feet right together for a moment, and then we're going to step over with the right foot. Okay, this is another forward fold. Feel free to bend the knees any amount that you need to make it feel doable. We're going to start our folds from the hips, but feel free to use your hands to sort of help balance anywhere you would like. Okay, let's come on back up, right? And we'll switch which foot is on front, right? The left goes in front of the right, and then we're going to fold it forward. Zoom in there, especially the right leg, but both legs really, and adjust where the upper body rests until that resting place is still working in the legs. We can still feel it lengthening. All right, that's good. Let's ease our way back down to the mat, or to a seat anyway. And we're going to work with those same 4 points that we did earlier, just below the navel, solar plexus, sternum, and the hollow of the throat. But this time, we're just going to use breath to access those places. And I like to sort of divide up what I'm doing on the inhale and the exhale. So we're going to start down low, that point just under the belly button. And as I inhale, it's just a steady, consistent, but full breath. I'm sending that inhale into low in the abdomen. And the inhale is becoming aware of it, activating it, switching it on, bringing it online, whatever way you want to think of it. The inhale is the active half, okay? I even think of putting it forward in space, right? Because we want to take our belly forward and take our solar plexus forward and lift our heart and make sure that we're free and strong in our voice. So on the inhale, we bring it forward in space, we activate it, we pay attention to it. And then on the exhale, we just let it become stable. We let it become steady and still. And that means muscularly releasing, right? So on the inhale, bring the front of the body forward. Imagine you got a fire there in the belly, and that inhale, just like you're blowing on a fire or using bellows or fanning it, right? We're trying to stoke our fires a little bit, get them burning on the inhale, and then on the exhale, let them become stable and steady. Do a few more down low. And then let's move our point up to the solar plexus. So right underneath the sternum, right where the rib cage starts to curve apart, we're going to send our inhale there. And then send our exhale out of that same point. Okay, the next point is the sternum, right? Breathe in, bring your attention there to the heart. Bring it forward, lift it, right? Literally lifting our heart. That's what I love so much about yoga is that we We do physically, and we do it metaphysically as well. We have to lift our own heart, right? We have to keep our own spirits up. We have to make ourselves happy and make ourselves interested and make ourselves, we're responsible for our heart, right? We have to lift it on purpose. And that's physically and emotionally and spiritually and metaphysically, right? Lift it on the inhale and then allow it to be open on the exhale. Okay, our last point for now is right at the hollow of the throat. The inhale is activating it, plugging it in, bringing it online. The exhale, make sure it's possible to hold a lot of tension across the collarbones and in the front of the throat and in the jaw. So that our job on the exhale is to let that go, right? Make sure that the voice and the throat is open. Okay, excellent. Let us take it to the hips here for a little bit. And we're going to take the right leg and straighten it, but instead of being straight out in front of us, we're going to angle it to the side a little bit, about 45 degrees. Okay, and then our left heel is going to come just below the right knee. And now we're going to bend the right knee, and you can either take the right foot here and just hold it, and we want to feel this in the hips. So that's our goal. You can just find that stretch by moving your foot, or you can set it down here on the knee, or on the calf, or the shin, wherever it feels doable. Once the foot is in a place where it's going to stay, or once you've reached the pose, now close your eyes, send your attention into the hips and feel what it feels like. It might feel like a lot. In that case, try to soften into the pose, right? Try to just be there even though it feels uncomfortable. If you don't feel it at all, then just lean forward, right? Take the upper body and angle it forward. Awesome. Let's set that up on the other side. So the left leg begins angled out to the left. The right heel comes just below the left knee. Because when we start like it's easy pose, it doesn't reach the same place in the hips. So that's why we start with the right foot nice and low. And then we're going to bring the left across. Set it down somewhere where it's doable. Okay, that's good. Let's meet up in tabletop, and we'll do some cat-cow, because it feels fantastic. And it's good anytime that we can bring some pliability and some flexibility to our spine, that's a good thing. And just like any other pose, we want to move it until we feel we hit that limit. Like, okay, my back doesn't go anymore in that direction. And we're not trying to break through that limit, but we're just trying to inhabit it and inspect it and learn from it, okay? So on our exhale, that's the cat. And we're sitting our back, our spine up tall, and we're tilting our tailbone down and pointing our head down, okay? And then when it's time to breathe in, our head lifts, our chest drops down, our tailbone tilts up, And then of course, when it's time to exhale, it's back to the cat. Just take some nice full breaths and match the breaths up with the movement. Okay, let's take our fantastic spinal twist from here. The first one I learned, and it's still probably my favorite. We're going to take the right hand up, right hand flips up, and slide it through behind the left wrist. Okay, once our right shoulder comes down, then we gently bring the right head down so that we can look out at the right fingertips. Our head is turned that way to keep our neck happy. Take any sort of tension out of the shoulders and the back, and then extend the left arm, and we're going to start to bring it up and back. We're using that to open the chest and open the shoulders back to the left. Okay, let's come back through center. We'll take it to the other side. Okay, left hand flips up. It's going to scoot through so that we can lower down to the left shoulder and the left side of the head. And then our right arm is going to help us open the shoulders. All right, let's come on back to center. And let's meet up on our front side. We're just going to lie down on the mat for a moment. And we're going to do some crocodile pose, which is more of a breath technique than it is a pose. And what we're trying to get used to, just like earlier when we breathed into our belly, we're going to do the same thing here. But what we want to do is to breathe in deeply enough to feel our belly button shift against the floor. Right? That's how our breathing works. Our lungs don't have muscles. It's all about muscles that are moving around the rest of our organs and creating low pressure in the lungs so that air gets pulled in, right? So breathe in slow and steady until you feel the navel move against the floor. And on the exhale, just release. Okay, let's bend our right knee and we're going to start to pull our right heel towards our head. Okay, sit up with the upper body and reach back and see if you can take the left hand to the left foot. Okay, now you can either, if this feels more comfortable, you can stay propped up. You can come back to the mat if you would like. And we're just going to give a gentle pull in with that left foot. Of course, it's the top of the quad, the top of the thigh that's getting the most stretch here. So take your time, don't overdo it, but also don't underdo it. We want to feel it a little bit. Okay, let's let that go, and we'll bring the right foot in, the right heel in, right? Pull it as close to the upper body as we can, and then we'll sit up with the upper body so that we can reach back and get a grip. And then just feel the top of the upper leg. Use any appropriate amount of pull. Okay, good. This time we're going to take the arms out wide, right? Airplane the arms. And we're going to stick the front of the right shoulder to the floor. Left arm is going to come up. Left leg is going to come up. Starfish pose, right? Find space in the front of the body. Also does plenty of things for the back of the body. Too complicated for me to try to figure out and feel and explain, but something's going on back there. Okay, let's come back to center. And then we'll do that for the other side. So our left shoulder stays stuck. And we're going to bring the right arm up and the right leg across. Find something that feels productive and challenging but doable. Okay, let's come on back to center. And then we're going to prop ourselves up on our elbows here. Notice where the lower body from the hips down is on the floor, and we want to keep them still. But we're going to get our arms and our shoulders pulling like we're going to try to crawl. But because we're locked down with the hips, that pull, that traction is going to be in the lower back. So get the arms and my head is reaching out like I'm trying to crawl across the floor. But because my legs and hips are stuck, I feel that making space in the lower back. And I'm just trying to find a place where I can be still, keep the pull going in a way that keeps that space happening, or that openness increasing. Okay, let's go ahead and pop up with the lower body into tabletop. We're going to keep our elbows down and clasp the hands. And some people call this puppy pose. Some people call this dolphin pose. I've heard it taught both ways. It's basically a downward facing dog, but instead of being up on the hands and wrists, we're going to keep this base here. So just tuck the toes and then straighten the legs, right? And you can experiment with walking the feet in or back, or bending one knee at a time to get in space with the back of the leg. I like to try to get my shoulders back along the spine. Okay, let's ease the knees back to the mat. Untuck the toes, and then we'll just sit back towards the heels for some well-deserved child's pose. This one is all about switching everything off. Let's make our way back upright. And let's find a very comfortable seat or easy pose. And what we're going to do this morning for our meditation session is to use our ears. Okay? Sonic meditation, auditory meditation, and you can do this with any of your senses, and you can do it even with your eyes open. I've never tried it that way. I mean, I've done visual meditations, but what we're going to do today is to choose what is coming in our ears as our meditative focus. We consider it like a home base or a cubby hole or a hook on the wall where we hang our attention. And for today, that home base is what we can hear, right? And I like to consider myself, we usually think of hearing as pretty passive, sound comes in our ears. When I do this meditation, I'm using my sense of hearing almost like I'm reaching out and grabbing, right? I'm going out with my ears and searching, right? Once again, what this does is to teach us that we don't have to be a slave to our mental activity or chatter. When we feel that start to pick up, and that might be a conversation you're having with yourself, it might be a to-do list, something you need to do later, plans, memories, all of this mental activity, that's the whole game, or the whole practice of meditation, is when our mind, it's a matter of willpower and a matter of effort and energy. When we start to lower the energy, our mind becomes sort of dissipated and goes all of its million paths, right? But we have to keep pouring energy into the system. We have to keep putting our willpower, keep putting our effort into moving back out to the ears. And learning to meditate is all about making that focus fun, finding ways that you're okay with going to, right? I did this meditation with my aunt. We have like one-on-one sessions in Toccoa. She's recently moved to Toccoa, and she has tinnitus. And I didn't know, but we did this meditation. She's like, let's not do that anymore because I don't need to be listening to the quiet. Like it's not fun for her. But I mentioned that just to say, like, and I encourage you to explore different meditation techniques of your own, but find ways that are fun and that are engaging and that are interesting, because we're going to want to put our attention there. And it's the return, choosing a point of focus and returning to it is the practice, right? The point of focus is not super important, okay? When you get busy with your thoughts, don't beat yourself up about it. Just gently return to what you can hear. We'll take 5 minutes here. let's start to move our toes and fingers just a little bit to gradually bring our attention back to the rest of the body and to the rest of our day. Thanks for practicing with me this morning. The light in me bows to the light in you. Namaste.
Namaste. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.